is after a cold winter, it's going to get warm in June and July, but above average thunderstorms because we're still retaining that moisture from the spring. So that's what we're going for as far as you guys going out. This is going to be an interesting summer for pop-up thunderstorms. So that's it's just the way the pattern's setting up. And that's why this year, more than ever, because of the winter having so much moisture retained, we're going to see a lot of moisture in the ground for a while. Okay, now, El Nino coming here in August. This is what we look at, and simply, these are long-range computer models that machines that take them from all over the world, and they look into the next year. And they kind of give an estimate of where things were going. This is where we are now. You can see neutral. Green is neutral, blue is La Nina, red is El Nino. And whenever you have El Nino patterns, it increases moisture, increases storms. You've heard El Nino. It really disrupts the whole weather pattern worldwide. You can have droughts in Australia. We can even have drought here. But typically on the East Coast, when we see an El Nino, it's an increase of moisture, but the winter becomes a wild card. So you can see here in red, El Nino, everything's going up. Here's September, October, November, later this year, greater than or just that 50% chance of an El Nino or neutral. La Nina, which is a drier pattern, way down here. So we're going neutral, and now we're going up. Look at El Nino going up. We'll show you another chart, how we're really feeling confident that we're going to have an El Nino late fall and winter. They typically start around August and September, and they'll start to peak around Christmas, and that's why they call it El Nino, which is the Christ child, because years ago in Peru, they discovered it always came around Christmas. All the water changed temperatures, and they would go out and fish for sardines, and all the sardines were gone because the water went from warm to cold. So this was a long time ago that was discovered before maps and radar and satellites and internet. And that's how we got the name El Nino, because it always started around Christmas, baby Jesus, Christ child. So that's the name. Now, to get an El Nino at all, you have to have the ocean temperatures a half a degree in the Pacific above normal, from west to east, from Indonesia over to California. So this is the marker, after all these years of studying, that they look at and say, once you hit this, you have a weak El Nino. Look where we're at now. Almost a La Nina. This is the opposite, but not quite. It's coming out of it, and you can see now we're going in this direction. These are models from all over the world. There's Australia, this is Japan, this is NASA, NCEP, National Climatic Center, that's US. Some of these are foreign. This is a hurricane model, this is the Canadian model. So we have all these models around the world, and they come in and they say, this is what we think is going to happen, and each model throws in its color, you can see here, its idea. What it's doing is, this is the mean, see the black line? And look where it's going. It's going straight up past the weak El Nino into maybe a strong one, which starts here. So what we're getting from this is going, if it's a weak El Nino, it can be a moderate to heavy snow winter ahead. But it's not a guarantee. If it's strong, we tend to get the California storms and it can be very warm and wet. But again, this is the early signal. So if we'll move to the next one, this is really the same model, it's looking at different graphics. Strong El Nino, wild card winter. It can be warmer, but you know those big California storms, remember a couple years ago we had those 20-inch snowstorms? That's what that means in a wild card, a strong El Nino. Weak one typically also means a snowy winter. So by looking at this, we're kind of going, wow, this is going to be an interesting winter ahead for the plow guys again, but it's going to be a little harder than this one to try to nail down because one storm may bring 3 inches of rain, the next one may bring 2 feet of snow. So that makes it very, very interesting as we move ahead. This is kind of what we do. I've worked in many TV markets, so we can forecast anywhere around the country. We're a 7-year-old website weather company. We grew over 400% this winter, mostly word of mouth. Our product, which we'll talk about in a minute, basically was people talking about it and telling other plow guys and landscapers. They said, hey, these guys are pretty good. We'll sign up as well. Our website over the last year and a half, has had 15 million page views. We just redesigned it. Christina's the one that put the new one together. We had some problems with it. We had to upgrade it. Right now we have 5 meteorologists on staff and growing to cover your needs. And we have a resource center, which we're starting to develop to help market your services. And also, if you blog on our site, you can add your links and you'll get more business. And it helps also with SEO. So while you expose yourself or allow yourself to have a link on there after you write a blog that might be helpful for people, a lot of people are coming on our site, thousands, especially in the Mid-Atlantic. We're mostly New Jersey, PA, and Delaware. So this is really goes well if you want to blog on our site. You get a lot of free publicity and visibility. So how does our product save you money? Do you guys use an app when you look at weather? Look at the radar and stuff like that? this is the truth about the apps that you don't know. They tend to be one-dimensional forecasts because they only look at one computer model. Remember all those models I just showed you? Well, there are US-based ones, and an app isn't designed to look at all three and then decipher which one's right or which one's handling it better. It's just one thing. So sometimes you look at the weather.com app or an app, you say, that seems way off. It looks like it's going to miss, or this doesn't even look right. It has to take one model. And that's fine if the model's correct, but one bad error or a piece of data that goes into that model, the whole forecast is wrong. Because each piece of data that's wrong now will set the 5-day off later on, because it's missing pieces of the puzzle to make a forecast. The apps, meteorologists make forecasts, a computer does not. They're called computer guidance. That's why we use so many different models. So now you're relying on one computer model to give you a forecast where a meteorologist takes all of them, looks at the trends, looks at the bad data, and says, this is the best model, trending this way. The models change every 3 to 12 hours. What that tells us is you might get that forecast in the morning, but it could be 12 hours old already. It took the last model run 12 hours ago. So now, this thing could be off. It depends on what model it uses. Some go every 3, some 12. These tend to be short-term weather. This tends to be the longer-range weather. We don't know what the app's using. Nobody has any idea what the Weather Channel. We believe they're using the GFS, which tends to be wrong here and there. 40% chance of rain, what does that mean? Really, I mean, you say 4 in 10 chance? What our servers would give it to you. We don't use percentage. We say it's going to rain this afternoon. We'll keep you updated. But people get confused. It was at half. It's really 40%. 4 out of 10 places may get rain in the afternoon in Jersey. It's something that was started years ago in the weather business. I'm not a big fan of it. I don't use it a lot.
Never get yelled at.
Right. Yeah, well, I said 50, so I rolled the dice. Can you talk to an app? Can't talk to an app. You can talk to a meteorologist or text him like myself with our service, but you can't talk to an app. There's the weather, that's it. You don't know if it's right or wrong, and you have no choice. We follow local changes in topography, which is called micrometeorology. And this simply just means we look at the weather in your town, in your area, the local effects that happen, sea breezes, things like that that an app doesn't even know about. Water temperatures different times a year, winds that change, quick thunderstorm outbreaks, derechos, things like that. So we can change on the fly. Apps can't do that. They just have that one model set, that's it. It's not going to change in an hour. If there's a thunderstorm over here, it's not going to change the whole forecast. That's how they go. And I was in TV for many years, and I still do some TV, and we just have to cover a broad area and a large time slot. We don't have to say it's going to rain in that town. We say, oh, North Jersey, it's going to be this, and that's it. That's what you're stuck with. They rarely will get into town to town or the local stuff. They don't have enough time, nor they got to hit everybody, the whole population of millions of people. And most forecasts past 3 dozen an app are not that reliable. And the reason why is it goes back to this. You're not taking a blend of 3 models that we look at. You're taking one, and if that error is off, then that 5 days way off sometimes. You plan to go to the beach or you plan to do a job on a Friday, and it's a Tuesday, and the app says rain. Are you going to cancel a Friday because you saw a lightning bolt on the app? Well, with this you might on the app, but it didn't look at the other 2 models. So really that forecast can be way off. Before you go, you better know. That's my slogan here. You better know what weather you're getting into before you go out, because we're going to help you schedule your crews. We're going to help you schedule your jobs. So if you have something on a Friday and today's Tuesday and we see storms building with lightning and a lot of wind, for power washing, wind's a big deal, we're going to say, you know what, you might want to stay away from Friday and move everything to Thursday. Because that wind alone is going to just give you a lot of problems, what spraying in the wind is like. And then also lightning. So we help plan your days. That's where you save the money. Because if you go out, you guys know this, lost man hours, you got to pay people for labor. You go over to that job and the guy's getting paid hourly, or for the job, and you cancel it, you've lost in labor. Gas money to go to the spot, now you got to come back, and then you got angry customers because you came out, you're ready to do a job, and then it rained. Well, you shouldn't know that. Well, now you have a meteorologist to tell you. We're going to help you out. You just get on the phone with us, you text us and say, what do you think? I'm going over to Caldwell, New Jersey in about 3 hours. How's it looking? We're available 24/7. Well, not at night, we sleep sometimes. But we're on call all day, every day before you leave in the morning. So you get a forecast in the morning, and then we're on call the rest of the day to take any questions. We'll be watching the radar all day, give you a heads up. Hey, if you're going over this is going to happen. So I think that's it. Yeah, that's pretty much it, guys, how it works. Any questions?